talk about the VOD and the silver screen. Kevin and Tom and Joe know all there is to know, from masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, this is Real Spoilers, episode 744, The Regular Size Mermaid. I will not body shame her.
Thanks, very nice of you.
They're all the same size, though, if you look at them.
That's true.
They line them all up in a row.
They do.
And she was neither smaller nor larger than any of the other mermaids.
Now, so I take it that they're talking about age because she's the youngest daughter
little sister.
of
but
all.
they never tell us her age.
No, well, he says that they say in the movie she's his youngest daughter.
But they never tell us her age.
So she could be 14.
No, but she's
Which makes this
relative.
movie
She's the
super
little
appropriate.
little sister, Little
Yeah.
Mermaid. So, but I had the same conversation. You posted that joke online after you saw the movie or whatever, and I was like, I talked to my wife the other day. I go, you know what? They never. It's weird. She's not little. She's the same size. I had the exact same conversation, though, with my wife just before you posted that. I'm like, okay, so other people are thinking the same thing.
Yes.
But then I realized, oh, it's the age.
Just add it
You
to
guys
the
were
list.
hoping for like a seahorse-sized mermaid.
Yeah, the little.
Main character.
She's just standing in
Well,
Eric's
we know
hand.
we
like,
know how Disney likes to groom people, and so
no.
they're
Starting early. Ooh.
so
Tom, you're making me feel worse and worse for being the only guy by himself with no kids in the theater.
I brought both of my kids. I did not feel weird at all.
Yeah, I went and saw this one by myself, too. So it's always a little weird going to a kid's movie
That's
by
how
yourself.
I saw Magic Mike.
Well,
myself.
Well, that...
Actually, I was like, oh, at least I don't have anybody else around to see me in this theater.
I went with my wife.
Yeah.
And it's funny, when I went to see the cartoon originally, I went on a date with my first girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So make of that what you will.
Ta-da.
Yeah. But this is my wife loves. That's her favorite Disney movie is Little
really?
Mermaid. I think it's probably mine. Like I really like the Little Mermaid.
It was my first movie in theaters. I was not on the date with you, though, to be clear.
just-
just to go back
yes.
to all that. It
well,
totally
because
separate.
Disney hadn't figured out the untapped
Potential of
the pedophiliac
Okay.
demographic. So we should probably go around the table and introduce ourselves because we all want our names associated with this now.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah,
This is
so-
Joe.
This is Kevin.
And this is Tom, and joining us via the magic of ZoomTube is Rick Ives.
Oh, unnamed. No.
Oh, it's the unnamed Rick Ives.
He took his name off the Zoom. He's like, no.
when this show airs, it's just going to be, whenever we say his name, it'll be
And
the
special
chicken
guest.
The
noise.
chicken noise. Yeah, right.
chicken
Well,
Noise. I didn't get a chicken noise last time I was there. I'm gonna have to put a curse
Oh, boy.
word in here.
You've, you've opened that
Well,
door. You've opened
Just
that
say,
door, Rick.
just say for us right now to get out of the way.
I'm gonna wait. Save it for a good time.
Okay.
He knows this is a PG-13 podcast. He's saving it.
yeah,
It's
he's-
one.
he
You get one, and you can't use it as a verb.
He's pulling a James Gunn.
Yeah.
Rick also knows, and you guys also know, that 95% of this podcast gets cut. This is going to be like 10 minutes, so the whole thing.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever listened to one, so I don't know what
We know.
you
I
could.
turn them on to get a download.
It could be
Oh, thank you.
like I could. For all I know, I haven't appeared on this podcast in years.
Oh
Since
yeah, no,
2015.
we just use your room for the recording studio. We don't actually.
We've pulled a Dan Graney and deleted your track.
I was one
that
time
I'm-
700 episodes
Now
ago.
that
by
I'm
the
the
way.
oldest one.
Yeah,
that's
right,
what
right.
happens, Yeah.
Was that
Wow.
Fantastic Four? It was.
It
It
was.
was the Trank Fantastic.
I think
Four.
it was one
was.
he didn't watch, so
Yeah,
it was
so he
like
didn't have a lot to
he
say.
didn't have anything to say. We climbed to number 57 in the United States for film reviews.
Hey,
this
that's
past
pretty great.
week. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, a little
to
bit.
go.
Yeah,
Good
thank
job.
you.
Thank
little,
you. Thank you.
little higher than even the Guardians episode, or maybe a combination of people catching up. But between
Are you telling me there's more Fast fans than Guardians fans?
Well, it's a pretty big movie, but you know,
that breaks
people
my heart.
like just like Rick said that he hadn't listened because he hadn't
guess
seen
that's
it
true.
yet. So with the combination, I mean, with movie season upon us,
It is here in full
with
swing.
Guardians and Fast, and you know now this huge Disney movie, like it's going to start piling up, and people will be banking episodes. So
It's gonna be a big summer.
Yeah, it is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
It's. I was actually looking at the calendar going forward, and it's like, God dang! Like, not only are there massive movies, one massive, but like next week is Spider-Verse and The Boogeyman, which are both 2 movies that I wanted to see.
So Spider-Verse.
I mean, Spider-Verse is going to be the big one.
I don't
yes.
think we've reviewed a movie on this show that isn't based on a pre-existing like sequel or IP
That can't be right.
in like 3
oh,
months.
long
yes,
time,
you're
yeah.
right. That is true.
Air.
It's been a long time.
You
Oh,
count
Air.
Air is
Oh,
not an
Air.
original.
I
Was that a
mean,
book,
I guess
No,
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I guess
That
Air.
was definitely a pre-existing property.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could make that
Well,
argument.
yeah, air, but every movie has air. I mean, they even come up from the water at some point.
He's
so,
talking
I mean,
about
I meant
the
the
Jordans.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, it's been very IP heavy.
Yes.
Well,
yes, and
that's-
it's not going
And
to
at
stop.
my age, I got
You
pills
do
for
pee
that.
heavy.
I pee freely.
Yeah, IP freely.
I wish I peed freely. That's the problem. You'll find out. How old are you?
41.
41. You got about another 6 or 7 years, and it'll start creeping up on you.
Hey, what's that?
Well, if you were a mermaid, you could pee freely.
That was,
Yeah.
Look at
That's
Rick
the
coming
dream.
in. Coming in
Merman.
clutch.
Well, I mean, whatever you want, but
Yeah, that would be amazing.
But thanks for having me back, guys. It's a long tradition between you and me that I'm talking to you from on the road, and also for an underwater movie. So
That's a good point.
to
That
look
is true.
at whatever underwater movies are coming up next.
well, you missed Avatar 2, which was a big,
Yeah.
big
true.
underwater. So yeah,
Oh, lots of water.
Well, it sounds
Is
like that
Aquaman
about my.
2 already out, or is that this year?
No,
oh,
it's
that's
supposed
like
to be
November,
November.
December or
Okay.
something. So well, all right,
Well,
we'll keep
we
you
know
in
when
the-
Rick's coming back.
We could do about my father. I think that's going to be underwater. Oh, zing. America loves a family-friendly Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah, yeah, boy.
So before we dig into the movie, shameless plugs. Don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you find a podcast. You can find us while you're there. Be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. That's always helpful and appreciated. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. It's called the League of Show Sharers. We are hoping you will share an episode because it helps us out tremendously. And people who were kind enough to share an episode last week include Chris Valls, Tammy Lynn Powers Betts, Ralph Tribble, Chris Sanders, Travis Tewitt, Glenn Cougar Mellon Brewer, Phil Timon, Gabriel Lugo, Chris Magic Man, Josh Rosen, Heather Sachs, Cinema Recall, Edit Photo Gamer, Binge Movies, Spoiler Piece Theater, David Rojas, Collateral Cinema Podcast, Batman Rye Guy, James Install, Geek to Me Radio, Ronnie Castle, In Session Film, Colby Mack, Nostalgia Cast, Feelin' Film, Vertigay 314, and Ryan Terry. So there. You can tell when
this
we're
is
in the
getting longer and
charts
longer.
by how long.
I know that's true.
Right?
Yeah, right. I do want to chime in. I did do a guest spot on the Screen Run podcast. They had me on a little while ago for their Escape from New York episode. And I said, if nobody wants to come back for Escape from LA, I'll come back and do it. Shockingly enough,
Yes.
nobody came back for that.
What,
So
what are the odds?
So I just recorded with them over at Screen Run for the Escape from LA podcast or episode. So I'm not sure when that's going up, but just keep an eye out for those guys.
You know, I would have done it.
Hey, I rewatched again. I was like, that was a fun movie.
I'm telling you.
Apparently, we covered that on the show.
We did.
Yeah.
And I
During
completely forgot about
during
it.
Misbegotten Sequels.
Yeah.
During COVID.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I defended it as being so
you
much
should
fun.
have.
Yeah.
See? Well, go back and listen. I think
There's
you
a
might
couple-
have a
there's
Man of
couple-
Steel.
there's a couple. No,
There might be a Man of
defended-
Steel.
You think I talk bad about a John Carpenter movie? Come on.
So also don't forget our Patreon, patreon.com/Real Spoilers, where for $5 a month you get all sorts of bonus content, and you know in your heart that we like you more.
That's right.
So there's all that. Let's dig in.
These
Have
can
4 white guys talk about the little bit.
Sure.
these can stop.
it.
These live action remakes can call
Oh,
it
boy.
a day, as far as I'm concerned. Unless you're going to do something
Different.
not radically different, but
Like-
do something different.
Like Jungle Book was great.
Yes.
Cinderella was great.
Yes.
See, 4 white guys can like a girl movie. Right?
Well, cards on the table. I really liked this one.
I can
I
understand
didn't-
it.
So, I might be defending this.
No, like here's the thing. This is not a bad movie.
Nope.
But the whole time I'm just like, but why?
Right.
And like that's where I kept landing on it. Like it wasn't bad. I was reasonably entertained. It did not need to be 2 hours and 15 minutes
Golly.
long.
No,
Like-
that was my big complaint. Was
Yeah.
This is
Like,
still
they could-
20, 30 minutes too long.
They could have padded it, but not that much.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And but so I love tribute bands. They're so fun.
Yes, I
right?
agree with you.
And but that's what these are. These are tribute bands. Now, you might say, but Tom, you just said you love tribute bands. So, but here's the thing. I love to see a tribute band because I can't see the original. Either they're dead,
Yeah.
or they tour very seldom, or they're super expensive when they tour, right? And so the joy of a tribute band is to be able to experience this music live, and in a way that you can't anymore, right? Now, I will always champion going to see tribute bands because they're a blast. What I won't champion is listening to that tribute band
In your car?
record a CD
Yeah.
of music, right? Because
this is-
because I don't need to hear 1964 recreate Rubber Soul on a CD because I have the actual Beatles on CD doing Rubber Soul.
Rubber Soul.
So thank you.
Yeah,
Right?
Those guys are good.
So and so that's where I keep landing with these. Like
Do you ever listen to other artists do cover music?
I mean, yeah, and
That's huge on YouTube.
Right,
People
and
covering your favorite songs.
and which are the hugest? The ones that do something different.
Right.
Yes.
That's
when,
true.
when somebody
Right.
does an acoustic version of a hip hop song, or they take or they take a metal song and they make it something else.
A tribute band's trying to sound like the original thing.
Right, the tribute band is trying to replicate the
Right.
original as closely as possible, note for note.
Yes.
And like what Band Geeks does, right? Which is fun because they have a podcast that goes along with it, and they're getting off into the weeds of like, here's the kind of guitar we used in the amp, and we
right
got
on.
to adjust these strings, and like it's real music nerd stuff, right? But for a tribute band, like you're just trying to slavishly recreate the original. And from a live music experience, I get that. But from a film experience, I don't, because I can still just go watch the
Well,
cartoon.
that's the point, right? Is you can go to Disney Plus, you can watch a high def copy version.
Maybe.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair of the Little Mermaid, and
which looks incredible.
it does, right? Like I think
I
that's
watched it a year ago or so, and I was surprised at how much I enjoyed
Well,
it.
remember on your tube TV on VHS how good the Little Mermaid looked?
well. That's
So like when they put it on Blu-ray,
No,
you're
you're
just
right.
like, holy cow! It's
I am
just like
under the sea.
to
the
me
clarity
that
is-
there's a run of animation. I think like Robin Hood, the Black Cauldron, the Sword and the Stone.
Robin Hood's like from the 60s.
I know, but there's that style of animation.
Okay, I was
I
just
think
like,
is
that's a
amazing.
big jump
That's-
in time.
That's true. That was I love that run
Mm-hmm.
of Disney because I think that's the best animation they've ever done. And then the Little Mermaid comes out, and you're like, this is incredible. Like not only is there 2D animation, but you've got almost like 3D backgrounds, like when she's swimming up through the coral, through her little layer. Like the backgrounds are so
Well, they're not 3D, but they're layers
It's
to
la-
it, right?
yeah, right,
Because like
exactly.
Beauty and the Beast is the first one that integrated 3D.
Like they started to replicate
Oh,
camera
right,
movements.
right.
Yes,
So-
Right?
so-
Like
yes.
before that, it was all very static. Where with Beauty and the Beast, they really started to be like, well, what if it was an animated movie, but we pretended
Move
like
the
it was
camera.
filmed with a camera.
And you got that with Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin with the Cave of Wonders, and they started implementing. And now, obviously, it continued all the way up until CG, where they
Right.
would use the 3D stuff. But this movie saved Disney Animation. Disney Animation was flounder.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but it was going to go away. It all hinged on this movie's success, and this started the Renaissance and saved the department. They were basically getting ready to get rid of animated.
What was the one before this?
Oliver and Company.
Oh boy.
And Black Cauldron was.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought it was Black Cauldron.
Black
Was
Cauldron
it? I
is
thought
one
it was Oliver and Company.
I can't remember.
Well,
the
Oliver
years
and
those
Company
were
was
released.
out, but either Black Cauldron was right before that. But I think Black Cauldron had such a development
Which is one of my
problem
favorites.
that like overlapped maybe with Oliver and Company. They
Maybe.
like moved on and started doing Oliver and Company, or Oliver and Company started later and then came out before. Like
Yeah.
it was a weird production cycle. But that production,
Yeah,
really,
it goes Great Mouse Detective. So Black Cauldron is 85. Great Mouse Detective is 86.
It's a good one.
Brave Little Toaster, which is a short, doesn't count.
No, that's a full length.
Is it? I thought that was a short.
I think
No,
it's a
the
full
first one-
length.
maybe there was a short, but there's
it's a feature. It
Yeah,
is
it's
a
a feature.
feature.
I could have swore that was a short. Okay. And then
But that's a weird one though, because that's one that was supposed to be a different company or something. Like that's a really weird production.
Oh, really?
The
It
Brave
wasn't
Little-
a Disney movie to begin with?
It was supposed to be Pixar. It was supposed to be 3D, and then they decided that they didn't have the budget, and they made it 2D. And Lasseter was involved with that. It was there's a
Okay.
weird thing that happened there.
Okay.
But
Okay.
so Brave Little Toaster is 87. Who Framed Roger Rabbit is 88.
Oh, they get the credit for that, don't they?
Yeah, which is odd. In my head, I would have thought Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out after Little Mermaid.
Same.
But yeah,
Isn't
but
that Buena Vista though? That's not Walt
counts.
Disney.
But I
is
think-
it?
Point of Vista is
but I
Disney.
think,
But it's not the same. You
but
don't.
So I'm on Wikipedia's Disney list
Yeah.
of Disney theatrical animated feature films.
Yeah.
So I think that their feature animation probably did the animation, I guess.
Did the
Yeah.
Robin part, yeah.
And then so Who Framed Roger Rabbit is 88. Oliver and Company is 88 as well.
Okay.
And then The Little Mermaid.
And then they were off to the races.
Well, are they? Because then you get DuckTales, the movie, in 90. You get Rescuers Down Under in 90.
That's a good movie.
But those movies
that-
were
that
both
one's
movies
my jam.
that I loved
Yeah.
growing up, though. So, I mean,
Yeah.
those were great for kids in
I
my
don't-
age growing up.
but
But I
don't-
guess that's true. It's not like
But
a
they
Little
don't-
Mermaid, Aladdin, Lion King.
Yeah.
Like, there's some stuff.
But they
you can-
weren't-
when you can go to Disney World and go on the Rescuers Down Under ride, you come talk
Yeah.
to me. Like, right?
But I don't feel yeah, I mean, they're making a lot of stuff, but I don't think that, to me, like DuckTales the movie, I don't think also didn't
That's
have
a
the
small
budget.
release.
Or it's a small release. It's not
For
like,
sure. Like, and this is the studio it's credited to is Disney Movie Tunes, and then
That's exactly that's
and
what I
then
mean.
Rescuers Down Under is Disney feature animations and Silver Screen Partners.
See, so
it's
and Brave Little Toaster, I bet, use the same way. See, they're not all just straight
that's
Disney.
Hyperion.
See, that's
And
what I'm.
the
Disney
Kushner Lock Company.
Yeah. See, so Disney distributed it or whatever,
Wait, did
but it's not
Trump's son-in-law make Brave Little Toaster?
I don't know. But
Well,
that's
I got the answer to the question for you. Why do they do this?
Yes.
It's a $120 million opening.
Oh,
that's
for sure.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, when I was saying
That's the
when-
bottom line.
When I was saying why, I meant me as a viewer.
artistic.
Why am I here?
Well, you.
Not, like
You
I,
as-
I get why they do it. They work. It works.
but
Like,
but you're also not the demo. You're not the target
Yeah.
demo for this, right?
but
So
I don't think as a 19-year-old boy on a date, I was the target demo for Little Mermaid.
In 1980.
I don't know. I saw
For-
people.
and-
Less,
yeah.
There was less options back then, and they were making something
But
that was for
I
you.
saw
Go
people.
see Batman.
I saw people on dates going to see this, and
Yeah.
they were kids younger than me. I mean, they weren't my age; they were like 20s. Were on dates. So but I'll tell you what, though, and I think I do know the reason why. If nothing else, not for money and not for. You don't need to remake it for the story because we all clearly know the first one's a masterpiece and you could watch it at any time. But what I did leave the theater feeling about this movie is that this movie is going to change the way that people look at things like diversity and inclusion. I just this movie is going to change more lives than politicians probably will.
This is another example of the Spider-Verse, right?
Yeah.
When they made Miles the Spider-Man,
Yeah.
that was a massive
Think about that
impact
for
And it
little
should've
kids to
been.
see themselves on screen. So
Absolutely.
This movie didn't need to get remade, and no movies need to get remade. You know what I mean? Like, and for that fact, movies don't need to get. Nothing needs to happen, right? But there's a business behind it, and yes, there's a monetary value. But I came out of this movie going, I liked it. Like maybe I'm closer to Rick's side. I might be the most agreeing. Like I liked it. I didn't love it, and I also think the first is superior. But when the credits rolled, I go, this is going to change lives. This movie is going to affect more people than, like I said, like people trying to make policy changes, because people will see people that look different and people will see people that look like themselves as the star of this movie. And it's going to change the course of people's lives because they're going to make decisions and they're going to feel more inclusive because they see these people on screen.
I think that's a good point.
Like,
I think
it
they're
just
seeing yourself on screen opens you, in my opinion, opens you up artistically.
Yeah.
Where it's like if that person
If they-
can do it,
exactly.
why can't I do it? Or
So-
why, so I don't think that you're wrong at
So
all.
I think we're not the target demo by age, and we're also not the people that need to see this movie and see ourselves on screen. As
Sure.
four white guys. But this movie
Just
will
go to the next theater down and get that.
But this movie is going to change people's lives, and I think, and it's already videos going around TikTok and in Twitter and the internet of little black girls seeing the movie. The credit rolls, and you see them, and they're dancing
Didn't that
around, and
happen
they're
during
looking
the
up.
trailer too? Like when we first see.
Oh, they did
Halle
a bunch
Berry?
of yes. But so that's powerful to me. And when you're making art, like again, even though this is a remake, so it's not totally original, but these artists who made this film are doing something that is going to affect millions of lives, and so I think that's neat that they're doing that.
I don't think that you're wrong. I guess my feeling is like the Jungle Book or like Cinderella is you can take the story, right? And I understand that this is, Ariel, when you go to the park, like she is front and center. She is one of the tip top princesses.
I wonder how they're going to handle that now.
Well, I mean,
was
every
thinking-
other time they have a movie.
Two different-
they have a live action
versions.
version and a
Okay.
animated version.
I was just
I'm
wondering because
sure.
she's such a popular character. I wondered
I
if
will let you know. I will be there.
Yeah.
I would say I'll be there in.
I'll be
the
there
middle
in
of
2
June.
weeks.
I mean they'll be promoting.
I think you're showing up as I'm leaving.
I think I am.
When are you going?
like the 18th.
Yeah, we're 5 through 12.
Okay.
yeah, I'll be in St. Louis.
Yeah.
You have a season pass. What are you talking about?
No, not anymore. I
Well,
wish I
but
could afford.
here's the thing, Kevin, is we will send you pictures, and you will be able to enjoy the park through representation. You will see someone
Yes.
like you
Yeah.
enjoying
Yeah.
Disney.
That is so good.
But I do. I think like the Jungle Book or Cinderella. They don't. Jungle Book I think stays closer to.
Is this going to end up like when you go to the park, how you had White Santa and Black Santa growing up?
I hope it's not a thing.
And then you just judge like which line is. Did I ever tell you this
No,
story?
I would say if they're smart, they just have a lot of mermaids.
Yeah.
Which is
all
what they do in
races.
this one, right? Like
Exactly
there's
like the
a
movie, yeah.
plethora of
I
mermaids
love
to
the-
choose
have a
from.
mermaid area.
I love the way they handled that. So when
I'm
you
like, King Triton is killing it.
oh for sure,
Like-
like,
So,
it's Javier Bardem.
But so
King Triton does not have a type. I'll tell you
That's
that.
true.
Like he will put it
true.
in.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
but like her sisters show up in the like animated
Right, and they're
sequels,
all
right?
white girls with different hair colors.
That's what it
and
is.
This
Okay,
this is so
okay.
smart. The way they handled it was that King Triton rules all the seas, and he has a daughter patrolling and ruling each different sea. So of course they're going to look differently. They're from each area they live in.
Give me
And
Javier Bardem as old man Aquaman.
hey,
Yeah,
looked kind of
So
similar.
does that
telling
mean
you.
he has a harem?
that's he must right.
Like if you're just extrapolating this logic to its natural conclusion, I think they're also teaching our kids about polyamory.
yeah, it's totally cool.
Oh,
Or
he-
just rank adultery.
he is a
There's
Greek. I mean, he is a
computer
Greek.
right now. Yeah, how do you explain that?
He's a Greek god.
It was
so
a question that was asked in my car on the way home.
Oh, why does he have so many different?
Wait, she's like, so are they all different moms? And I was like, yep. And Gwen was just like, huh. And that was the end of that conversation.
it's hard. How do you? How do you not? I mean, it's there, but like we said, I mean, God's things were. If you go back and see all the different stuff that they did, but
Also, it's a different culture.
That's true.
Right? Like, even when people are like, oh, she's only 16. I'm like, really? What are the rules for how old a mermaid has to be before
Right.
she can...
Yeah,
Like, what's the... Like, what are the rules?
You can't use it. We have PG-13.
Right?
PG-13.
yeah,
That
Rick's
didn't
supposed to
count.
get his. but I like it. I like everything. Like, I know that you've got all the people screaming, and like I know Tom is joking and poking fun at the way that people criticize Disney and this and that. Obviously, we don't feel that way.
No.
But you see all those. I mean, no buts about it. Just you see all these people making these criticisms. But
Mermaids don't have butts.
I
And when
don't
they get
know.
legs, they do.
I saw a meme where it says... It showed a picture of Ariel, and like, the first day she was a human, she her pants at least once.
Wait a minute.
There's Anyway.
What is happening?
What's happening?
She did learn how to do a lot of human things really quickly.
Yeah. Because I'm just
Just
like...
reading those books.
Day one, legs, right? Like, you need at least 6 weeks of physical therapy before you're ready for anything.
Oh, those things aren't going to work.
No, not at all.
No, they'll be all
Well,
like
Yeah.
They're magical legs.
they're going to be
It's
just
all explained away.
they're going to be just independent of each other.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what?
I mean, going to the bathroom, I don't know how she did it before, but it's like, how do you explain that change? Like, what?
By the way, your lower half is going to
Yeah, it's
like
so, but
And wait till you see what Prince Eric wants to do to that lower half.
so I really like the diversity and the inclusivity. Like I said before, though, with this movie, it's gone from people are still complaining. I'm just thinking, are these people 50 years from now? You know how, I mean, times change, and eventually most people get on board, even if they're a little resistant at first. And I think now we've
And then lie and say that they always felt
Yeah,
that way.
yeah, right.
well, that's a very important point. But so, like, this has been happening enough now that I think most people are getting used to it. And I just am like, 50 years from now, are the same people going to be going, oh my gosh, it's like
no,
eventually.
their kids are.
But let's move past it, because now I think if you recognize what they're doing with it, it's so
Wait until
necessary.
James Gunn casts Zoe Saldana as Lois Lane. Just wait.
I don't care. I'm so
I don't
tired
care.
of anything
I don't
about.
think it does not matter to me at all.
If you see theater, I mean, like Tom and I are more familiar with theater. That colorblind casting, you see it all the time with race, with age. It just you're so used to it. So
I think in 50 years what you'll hear is, I mean, I never had a problem with the Black Little Mermaid, but I don't know about insert new thing people are outraged about playing this, right? Like it's the game we always play, right? Like people now like, oh yeah, like Freedom Riders were great, and they should have never had segregated restaurants, but it's like, but someone clearly felt that way, right? And they felt that way very strongly because
enough that it was controversial
right
to change it,
and right, and enough that they would go and like physically assault people that tried to change it, right,
and that was
those people didn't just go away the day that was resolved, right? Like they were still out there, and they were still raising children and filling their heads with that bull, exactly like the dining counter stuff and all that. Like that's not that long ago.
Well, that was my exact thought with this, because I was thinking back to then. I'm like, look how much things have changed. So hopefully in 20 years, I mean, I don't think we'll still be hearing these same complaints, because just like that, people will get used to.
We'll be outraged when they cast Clark Gable as because they've figured out the de-aging tech,
the
and
AI stuff.
and they're just like,
that is going to be
Clark Gable starring in Spider-Man,
especially
25.
with the writer's strike and stuff, and with with AI going up and them talking about. I mean, Tom Hanks even said it. Like he's like, yeah, they're just going to license your.
They've kind of started it, right? Like when they bring in Tarkin in Rogue One, or they bring in
Peter Cushing
and a young
or Leia,
like any of those characters. Yeah. I have a feeling we might see that in a couple weeks.
Those are Fred Astaire dancing with a dirt devil,
right?
Yeah, but seriously, I think
cameos versus feature lengths. Like we haven't seen a full licensing of a feature length.
That's true.
Star, and I do feel it's only a matter of time.
I have a feeling we might see a lot of it in a couple weeks in The Flash. I think there's going to be some cameo. I don't know. I've stayed clear of any spoilers.
Oh, you think you might get a Christopher Reeve or something?
I think we might. Like a 1978 Christopher Reeve showing up in that movie. I don't know. It's not confirmed. Trust me. I've steered clear of anything, but it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I like the changes they made in this movie. I have no problems with the changes. My biggest complaint of this movie,
there should have been more of them.
Yes.
Well,
there should have been more changes.
Yeah. My two huge complaints in this movie, and plot-wise, we don't need the plot is the exact same plot as the cartoon.
CM, you know the plot, buddy.
Yeah, we can talk about some of the changes that they did to make it longer, but the plot is the same. But my two complaints with this movie: one, it is too much of a rehash. They should have made it more different. And two, it's the same thing that we've had problems with all the live action, be it Lion King, which I think is offender number one, and then Aladdin, things like that. They're trying to be too live action, which most of it's not live action.
Right.
It's animated,
sure.
right? So, okay, Under the Sea, that loses so many points for me right away. Alan Menken and Howard Ashman specifically, geniuses. And Howard Ashman made so much of this movie. So much of this is him. So much that he wrote parts of the movie to save it during production.
To save this movie?
Yeah, during production,
okay.
Katzenberg came in as Katzenberg does, just like with Black Cauldron, and says, cut this, just cut this. Katzenberg wanted to cut part of this world.
Oh,
which is just insane. When you think of Little Mermaid, what do you think of?
He wanted to cut that song?
He's insane. He has failed upwards somehow. He surrounds himself with the most talented people. I hate Katzenberg.
I like seeing like Caddy Kevin.
Well,
that's fun.
Well, you get me going on Disney stuff, but I'm on record. I can't stand Katzenberg.
Part of your world. First off, like.
That's the I Want song, and Howard Ashman's a Broadway guy.
You've got your Yearning song.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent from Little Shop when the Down on Skid Row song, right? And because this does follow the beats of
it's Broadway
of Little Mermaid or of Little Shop of Horrors. Quite a bit.
Weird.
Yeah, especially in the songs.
I didn't even think of that.
But this is the Renaissance.
You get your giant villain song from Ursula. That's Dentist.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
it's also Broadway, right? Because the Disney Renaissance, when you look at the movie, started becoming Broadway musicals.
Right. They are taking the Broadway platform or rhythms and applying it to the silver screen, and that's what makes, and that's also what has made these films so adaptable. To take them back to Broadway.
Right, because they're Broadway, they are.
Yeah.
Right.
I had that thought a couple times through this, like, man, this is perfect for the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's stage people, right? They did Little Shop of Horrors.
Have they done The Little Mermaid on stage?
I don't think.
They
Well,
must
there's
have.
At Disney World.
At Disney
there is.
World,
So.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm trying. Didn't they try it on Broadway?
Oh, I've seen it. I saw it at the Muni. So there is a tour.
okay.
There was a touring. So I don't know if it hit Broadway, but there was definitely a touring kind of thing. And there's a licensable thing. And it was really good. They did it with a video backdrop. So they had Under the Sea, like video stuff.
Yeah.
But I gotta believe that's how they originally conceived all these animated movies. We're just going to take Broadway to the theater.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially that's what they're doing
build the story
is
that way. The songs are going to be
That's
that
kind of
way.
what
The
live
musical numbers and the dancing is going to look like
Yeah.
you're sitting in,
that's a great point too when you say like why. Well, it's like Broadway is live action obviously, and now of course the big draw is you're there, so
Right.
of course, but live action remakes really are filmed Broadway shows but with more production, because that's what they're essentially doing is it's
Well, and did you guys read about that Under the Sea number about how they shot that?
No.
Because they didn't know what to do
apparently
because so much of it was cool fish
yeah
doing stuff.
throw on a screensaver
Yeah.
and
They
sing
brought in-
songs
they
about
brought
fish
in a
playing
dance
instruments.
company and did the whole thing like it's live, and then went back and animated it based on that.
What the choreography was like live.
That is
Right.
that's the kind of stuff that I dig.
I mean, it's
is
cool
like-
from a technical perspective, but again, so
There's
like
a couple interesting articles about
Yeah.
how they did that.
Yeah.
So
It
they'd
looked-
have the dancers, and they'd have animators and directors, and all of them were kind of working together to figure out what this thing was
yeah.
going to be.
I mean, Under the Sea looked like a really cool screensaver. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it didn't look cool. I liked seeing jellyfish. I like seeing underwater photography. I think it's interesting. But the whole reason that you tell a story like The Little Mermaid and animation is the medium, and the same reason you do it for talking lions, and the same reason you do it for flying carpets, the reason you
You're
do
gonna
it
things that you can't see
Yes,
in
and
real
so
life.
now this is the problem Disney has with these live action remakes. And Lion King, I think, again, because talking animals that don't really show emotions, like it's hard to convey singing and dancing. So you bring them Under the Sea, and this whole musical number that Ashman and Menken wrote is about how you have this crustacean band doing their thing, and the flutes and the harps and all this stuff, and they're singing the lyrics to this song, and they're showing jellyfish just choreography doing jellyfish things, and I'm like, there's no meaning to it anymore. Why is he singing about this band and you're seeing a stingray and a jellyfish and they're just floating? It just
Like you should anthropomorphize those characters.
which is
Yes.
right. Why can they not have fun? Why does Flounder look like a fish from PetSmart? Why can't Flounder be a Sonic the Hedgehog-esque, like an animal that's a CG fun animation? They
That's
want
funny.
they want it to look so live action, but you have talking fish and talking birds and magic spells, so you're not being live. You're not being
It's funny
realistic.
because
Why?
I think I've watched The Jungle Book probably in the last 6 months, and there is something to
Like the
that.
movie?
Yes. Yeah,
The-
the Favreau version.
The Favreau one, yeah.
And there is something to that where Baloo does have kind of like emotions. Like
Yeah.
he does emote, and all of those characters, for whatever reason, that thing just works.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm not going to say it's Favreau. It could be. Like, I don't want to take credit away from him, but he does Lion King.
Well, certainly not. But he does Lion King, and it
And
makes $1
it's-
billion. So again, financially, not.
Well, no, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just mean like
Favreau is his generation's Ron Howard.
I don't think
and
you're
I
wrong.
mean that as a compliment.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
dude can do anything. He's like
yeah,
Howard
and
Hawks.
work for hire. He's
He's not beholden to a genre,
No.
and he's there to serve the story. Like if you look at a Jon Favreau movie, not knowing it's Jon Favreau, you won't know it's Jon Favreau.
No.
right?
Right.
And
He's
Ron
like-
Howard is like that, but Quentin Tarantino, within 3 seconds,
sure.
you know you're watching.
he's not an
Fincher's
auteur.
the same way.
He's
Yeah.
not an auteur.
Right, and
He's
that sounds like an
it's
insult.
Not, no,
and it's not. He's-
Every Tarantino movie you know is a Tarantino
Right.
movie, but if you didn't put Ron Howard above the scroll, you
You'd
would
have no
never
idea.
know. And
Right.
It's a competent, excellent
To
film.
me, it's
but
Howard
he's
Hawks.
a craftsman.
Yeah.
It's Richard Donner. It's Ron Howard and Fav. Like those guys can direct the hell out of a movie, but there's nothing that stands out where you're like, oh, that's a Richard Donner
Right.
movie.
We're like
Yeah.
James Gunn movie. You're like, that's a James
Yeah,
Gunn
you know
movie, right?
exactly,
There's
you know, right
auteurs.
away.
Wes Anderson certainly is probably one of the most,
Yeah.
Kubrick.
And I would
Fincher?
mean Wes Anderson as an insult. But I cannot stand those movies.
Same.
So that's my biggest.
It is interesting you point out that the point of animation is to do something that you haven't or you can't do in real life and you haven't seen. But in that way, this kind of is that, right? Because have you ever seen photoreal animation?
No, that's
movies
a
before?
great point.
No.
That's
You
kind
know,
of
you
what their whole
well,
thing is. Like, you can't see this anywhere. We got lions that look like real lions, except they sing.
Yeah. No. You're spot on. And so it's a kind of a two-part thing because I was in my head earlier when I was kind of getting my thoughts together from seeing this last night. It's a two-part thing. I mean that whereas this movie is still, not to take away any credit from the artists, this is an animated film too.
Absolutely.
Because right, and it's amazing. The underwater photography is breathtaking. They're doing cool choreography, all the stuff Rick mentioned
The sets
with that
look
stuff.
incredible.
That's all really cool. But my point was more that you do it so that you can have fun with the characters doing the stuff. You want to say the lute play the flute and the carp play the harp. You do it so that you can see them doing things that animals don't do. And so, yes, we haven't seen choreography with underwater animals like this, but like we want to see them play the trumpet and the trombone and the harp. Like that's the fun of the song. Cut the song. If the whole song is about the carp play the harp, why would you just show jellyfish dance? And of course, I know you can't cut it, but what I mean is Disney wants so bad for live action. Lion King is 100% CG. There's no live action in Lion King. You know what I mean? So it's not live action, and so therefore you're not constrained to making this 100% real life, because once animals talk, it's not 100%
And the odd thing is,
realistic.
if you
They
made
weren't talking though, Kevin. They weren't talking. Only the undersea creatures could understand what they were saying. So it's not like humans were hearing them talk.
Sure.
Oh, you know what? That's a good point, because you're talking about the one scene where you see Awkwafina singing, and it translates to bird noises. So that's how they tell you that they were only. Good point.
In a way, this is more real live action stuff, except that we have an in on what their language is.
Okay, so to be fair, just like Tom told me, they changed Scuttle from a seagull to a underwater bird because that would make the bird go underwater.
When that bird was underwater, I was like, what are we doing?
that bird can go underwater.
Totally
so
legit.
so credit to them, but I feel like
I'm wondering though. Now that you're describing it that way, that song is all about them being a band, and I'm not sure I completely agree with that, because to me, what that song is Sebastian trying to convince her you don't need to go anywhere else, right? We have it all here.
It is, but
Isn't that the point?
That is the point of the song.
He's kind of pointing out, look, we have the things that they have. Fish do this, fish do that. Fish do that.
I always kind of took the song. I mean, I know they're showing you the things literally doing those things, but I always took it as more of a metaphor of like, but we have these things in our own way.
Right.
And but it is confusing because they do show you them literally doing that.
But that's what's fun about
Yeah.
it. Like, it's all opinion, and maybe I'm crazy here. Maybe some listeners will agree. But when I watch that animated movie and the fish are playing musical instruments, that's the whole joy of it to me. And then when you take me and I watch a screensaver that's beautiful and I love the nature stuff, but to the amazing, clever lyrics that Howard Ashman wrote for it. Howard Ashman was a genius, and he was clever. Little Shop and this and
Beauty and the Beast.
and Beauty and the Beast. Like, the lyrics are so good, and he hand in hand worked with the animators to create these things.
Yeah.
And so then when you recreate it in a way that's just live action, again,
it's different than his interpretation was meant to be.
And you go back to Lion King again. I on record, I said that technology and the way that they filmed the movie in VR, as a computer guy, a tech guy, I love the tech of it. I love the stuff Rick mentioned with this. Like, that's so cool how they made it.
Yeah.
I'm all into it.
No, it's incredible.
But just can't wait to be king with the Lion King. Think of how fun and colorful, and the giraffes and sliding down things.
But not
and
even
in the movie, I believe they're just walking around as lions.
But
singing.
it's not even
They're
just that. It's watching Simba's eyes and his mouth,
course.
and like that whole thing.
I
And
think
when you take that out, it does.
The problem is you can do things with cartoon characters that you can't do with real characters.
Exactly.
Like, you can have a lion slide down the neck of a giraffe. Like, you can't do that with real photorealistic.
But you can if you make a hedgehog look like Sonic does.
Yeah,
Because
he's saying
Sonic
you
doesn't
could.
look like a little brown
There's a way
spiky.
to do it that's possible. It's just computer animation. You can do anything that you want. But
Why
where do you
isn't
draw the
Pixar?
line?
Why
Like,
isn't
what are you gonna
Pixar
allow
remaking
them
these
to do?
movies? You see what I'm saying? Pixar would make a cartoon, but it's.
I think you would complain about that even more.
But you know what I'm
Close
saying.
to the other one.
I had said, I don't know if anyone remember.
Like, why are we doing this? It looks the exact same except it's updated.
No.
I don't know
just
if anyone
meant-
remembers me saying years ago on the show that what they should do is they should take classic Disney movies like Peter Pan.
Yep.
And keep the
track,
soundtrack,
right.
but let Pixar
reanimate
it.
Yeah.
Interesting idea.
So the
And
new
that's-
audience, the CG
When
kids,
when we see those princesses in
Wreck-It
Ralph 2,
What happened to that spinoff? That was amazing.
when you see all of and you see how good they look.
That's what I'm talking about. Pixar could take
Like,
animation and
That's
make
Disney
it.
animation.
But
Wreck-It Ralph is Disney.
Wreck-It Ralph
animation.
isn't
oh,
Pixar.
true. Oh,
But
no, true. But
It's the same.
yeah.
It's all the same.
But
stuff.
my point being, like, if
I
you
think the
pick,
people that work at Pixar would disagree.
I'm sorry, Pixar people that listen to this show. You are not the same.
yeah, but you get what I'm saying is that's why I say Pixar, because it's like you can keep what makes the characters feel the same, but update the animation to where it's close, but it's different enough, right?
There are obviously there are touchstone movies at Disney.
When you get a live action Scooby Doo, they don't give you an actual Great Dane.
Thank you.
That is what I'm saying.
But
right.
but like, if you want to make a live action Little Mermaid or a live, a live action Lion King or Aladdin, that's fine. But you have the Aristocats, or you have Peter Pan, or the Sword in the Stone. You have all of these, Robin Hood. You have all of these other movies that exist that you're not gonna. Do I want to see a real anamorphic fox as Robin Hood? No. I do not.
Directed by Wes Anderson. Fantastic
God,
Mr. Robin Hood.
I think that's his only movie I like.
That sounds terrible.
All right, so getting into the movie itself, Halle Bailey, I thought was phenomenal as Ariel. I thought her voice was great.
Yep.
I think she was excellent.
I have no qualms with.
I thought she was good. My only complaint was Part of Your World. I felt like she oversang it. But I also feel like
I think the arrangement's weird.
It is a weird arrangement, and I did not do her any favors.
Yeah.
And I felt like there was too much. I get it. Like I felt like I feel like she felt she had to prove
I gotta nail this song.
that she was capable or deserving.
I got to tell you, that's coming from the director and music people. That's not from her.
Yeah,
He
and
doesn't make the choice.
you think
to sing this or not.
they're saying, "Hey, go bigger."
I think.
yeah,
I mean,
got
she
you.
is
And
a
they did-
singer.
They did 20 takes and they picked the one that
Yeah.
they liked.
yeah,
Got you.
I think that makes sense too, because there's so much control over this. I mean, it's got to be perfect. This is a big. They're selling records. They're selling. This is going to be listened to, and that's the thing. We talk about why they do it, and we know there's business component with box office, but they're going to sell the CD. They're going to sell the vinyl. They're going to sell the toys. Like,
Yep.
it's all such a machine with the way it all comes together, and that's how it works. We're not blaming them. That's they
it's
sold,
always been
they
that
sold
way,
Star
didn't he?
Wars toys, right?
Oh,
George
right.
Lucas made a mint on them.
they
So
sold West Side soundtracks. in the '60s
for sure.
Oh, sure.
Like it's
But this is the same problem I think we always have with these remakes, though, is that they obviously can't just release the same arrangement. They can't sound exactly the same.
They got to justify.
So
their
you're
existence.
like, so I wasn't a huge fan, and knowing that Lin-Manuel Miranda, who I love, worked on this, I wasn't a huge fan of the changes. In the original songs, like the Eric song.
The Eric song is a snooze.
It's terrible.
But
Oh, really? I liked that one.
Oh, I thought that thing
What's
was.
the matter?
I thought that thing was a snooze. And I
Listen, I actually lied a little bit about going to see this by myself. I didn't. We went with our whole family, and we had like 6 little kids there. And they were loving every minute of it.
I don't know what to believe anymore. Jeez, that's quite the change in this.
I was sitting next to my 9-year-old niece, and we were singing every song, and they were up in the aisles dancing for all of it too. So,
well, that's. I mean, my
part of it was maybe just I had a great experience there because they were loving it so much.
for sure.
That's the same thing with Mario, man. We go back to this where I'm just like, the kids loved it. I don't like what they did, but
you're just not the demo,
right?
Yeah.
You cannot.
I will send you guys my 1-year-old nephew.
Yeah.
Don't send him to us. We don't.
He's great. You'll love him. He's fantastic. But my sister just sent me a video of him sitting on the floor, and he's holding, like, he's just kind of like messing with a Mario plush toy, but he is glued to Mario on the screen. Like, doesn't usually if you try to like get a kid's attention,
right?
they'll
2 seconds and they're off. Yeah, but
he is zeroed
and
in on
this is a
Mario.
long one. It's 2 hours and 20, and I was like, man, are we gonna make it through this?
I will say
This could be a mistake.
my 12-year-old loved Scuttlebutt. She's
Scuttle?
looking. No, the song that's
the
Scuttle
song.
does. Yeah.
So that's my favorite of the 3 songs. It's just not Lin-Manuel Miranda singing it is the problem.
To me, the problem is, and that's a great song, and it should be in a totally different movie.
Maybe.
It doesn't feel
It does not feel
like
like a
this
It does
movie
feel a little out of place
at all.
At
It's-
least they gave it to a character who didn't have any other musical numbers.
Yeah,
That's
So
true.
it might not have been out of place for that bird. Maybe all her songs are like this, every day.
Yeah, it's just but all the songs have a feel, and I was really, I was disappointed because I was really looking forward because I knew there were going to be new songs, and I was looking forward to Lin-Manuel Miranda writing in the tone and style of
That's
Little
totally
Mermaid.
fair.
And so kind of like Adam, I'm blanking on his name, who did like
Fountains of Wayne.
the Fountains of Wayne guy who did That Thing You Do.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like they were like, we need songs that sound like early Beatles, and he's like, not a problem. Boom, 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 and he,
And he did Lin-Manuel Miranda did all the music for Moana, so we know that he obviously writes a lot more than just
And
Hamilton
Mary
sounding.
Poppins, right?
Yeah. So I mean, that he can do it, but I didn't really love any of the 3 songs. Scuttlebutt is the best, but when you hear Awkwafina trying to perform it, you just hear Lin-Manuel Miranda, and unfortunately, I like Awkwafina, but she's not Lin-Manuel Miranda.
That's funny. I didn't know that Lin had done this music
Yeah.
until the end.
But that
My wife
song,
had texted me from the other side of the island, from the other side of the aisle, like, "Hey, I think this is Lin-Manuel Miranda music."
You know, that's
not.
weird that you would say that, because I understand how in the Prince Eric song, and I forget the other new one, but
she's not singing, but she's singing.
But
Remember,
when-
that's the other song.
yeah, but when you get to the
is that what it is?
Scuttle song, I don't know how you can't tell that that's
It didn't.
Lin-Manuel
That's what
didn't
I'm
occur to
saying.
me. I'm like, oh, this is just the new thing. Like,
I just
we're all gonna
heard
do a
his
rap song
voice
of these.
Yeah.
sing
It
through,
is
but
funny. Gwen, as soon as Scuttle started talking, she looked at me and she goes, "I think that's Raya." I was like, Raya?
I forgot that she had done Raya.
And I was like, oh, you're right. It is Raya.
I
She's
thought
like,
it was
"Yeah, I thought
weird
so."
that they had used her again so quickly.
So
'cause
quickly, yeah.
Normally, Disney gives
Well,
it more of a break.
she
and in
kind
the
of-
Marvel universe.
I was gonna
So
say, she's popped.
she's got friends at Disney now.
She
Yeah.
must.
Oh my gosh,
Because now
yes.
that's 2 Disney movies and a Marvel
she's just
movie.
in Renfield. She's
she
in a
was in
lot of
Renfield,
stuff.
wasn't she?
Yeah.
But-
But she doesn't voice Raya. She's in Raya. Kelly Marie Tran from Star Wars is Raya. She's the dragon Sisu.
That's what Sisu.
So I
yeah,
just want to
not
make, because
Raya.
you
Yes,
said
no,
she's
you're right,
Raya,
you're right.
I think, and I just wanted to clarify because
No,
I didn't
it
think
is-
she was in the
it is-
lead.
yeah, you're right.
Okay,
She is Sisu.
She will never have to worry about working again.
Nope.
Just by all these,
The last 2 years.
just by all the the video game and cartoon fill-in stuff that they'll want her to do
Oh,
for the
yeah.
rest of her
And
life.
she's
Like, if you look
Yeah.
at Pat Carroll's IMDb, she pops up to do Ursula over and over
does
and
she
over
really?
again, like in House of Mouse and a video game.
The sequel, she
and-
played the
and
sister
in
in
the
the
sequel,
sequel.
and she comes back to voice Ursula probably 20
That's
times.
funny.
You know, here's a fun thing. Before we started recording, when I was eating breakfast, I was watching an episode of the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and I'm always binging a classic sitcom. So we
can
previously
appreciate
finished
that, yeah.
WKRP, and now we're doing Mary Tyler Moore. We're on season 1, episode 20, and
Thank
Mary
you for the
follow
update.
along at
Very
home.
specific.
Mary Tyler Moore goes this ties in, I promise you. Mary Tyler Moore goes to the hospital, right?
Okay.
And she has to share a room with a very cranky, cantankerous woman who's just really kind of a bitch. And the whole time I'm like, why do I know this person?
Is it Pat Carroll?
And I looked it up. It was Pat Carroll
That's awesome.
as the guest, and that's the one I watched this morning, just totally
How funny.
coincidentally.
Yeah.
Here's the other really funny, fascinating thing about this episode, made in 1970. What is Mary Tyler Moore or Mary Richards for the purists in the hospital for?
I don't know. She's lost her voice.
She's getting her tonsils removed.
yeah.
It's funny. And you know what? I will say, I think Melissa McCarthy was great. I think
Yeah,
she was.
she did a really good-
really fun.
yeah.
and
I gotta give it
she
to you.
owned every
She-
second of it.
she did a really
You don't
good
like
Ursula.
her when she's in stuff that her husband directs.
Yes. Yeah, to be clear, I think Melissa McCarthy's talented, and
She can be a good actor.
she
Yes.
right because
so
that
many
yes.
times it's like what
Yes.
what
what
Whose
what
idea
was
this?
the can you
Can you ever forgive me?
Yes, she's so
Saint Vincent.
yeah, and
Right? Wasn't that what it's called?
I didn't watch Gilmore
the
Girls.
7 or the 9s? Is that the other one?
Oh,
I didn't watch
the
that
one.
one.
Is
Like
it the
early with
kitchen?
Ryan Reynolds.
But she's isn't. Oh, you're right. The nines. Yeah, you're. that
I
is a
just-
Ryan
I
Reynolds
just-
movie.
It was a number.
No, you're right. It is the nines.
I
Look
just
at
don't
you.
like
Well
the Ben
done.
Falcone joints. You know, I just
Those
don't
are
like the ones
rough.
where he's having her trip over a bench and
Man,
get a
It
pit with
does
a.
feel like money grabs.
Yeah.
Identity Thief is the one where I was
Oh
like,
my gosh,
Her and Paul
man.
Feig.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like all the casting in this movie, though. I really like it all. From Melissa McCarthy,
It is
Javier
eerie how much
Bardem as Triton.
Eric, the guy that plays Eric,
Looks like Eric. It's good
I was like,
casting.
well done.
Okay,
At
let
least-
me ask you about this though. How old is Ariel and how old is
Thank
So-
you, Rick,
movie,
for
I was
asking
starting
that
to get a
question.
little
In the
uncomfortable.
cartoon, Ariel is 16, but they never state her age in this movie.
I'm
There's
sure
a-
she's.
there's a reason.
I'm
Yeah.
sure
Because
she's.
Eric looks like he's early 30s.
They said. He said you
And
came
the
to
Little
us.
Mermaid hat can't be barely a teen.
They said he
18,
came.
19, 20.
They said he came to us 21 years ago, and
So
I'm guessing as
here
a
is-
baby.
Here is my question.
Yeah.
He was 10 when he showed up at their door.
Yeah, you came to us 21 years ago as a 19-year-old.
He's
He also has all these stories about traveling the world and all these things he's collected from all these places. Like, how much time have
Oh,
you
they
been
start-
at sea,
they start
dude?
young.
well, you know, He's rich.
Yeah.
White privilege.
Yeah.
So what?
Still, it takes you 6 months to get
Also,
across
you're in the
ocean.
Caribbean, and you, white savior, will be the king of our land.
And you're not blood. Like, how does
Yeah,
royalty
right.
work in this
Adopted.
world? He's
Right.
adopted. They adopted a kid, and then he gets to be king.
That's what I thought
And
was
I'm just
kinda-
like, well, wait. Then why does anyone ever concern about the lineage
bloodline.
if
They
you could just
sent
adopt a new kid?
poor Jon Snow to the wall.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
When you're completely isolated as a country, because they were talking about no one can get in or out of
Yeah.
their island except for these people, apparently.
Yeah.
In a secret way that
Super
there's not a lot of blood coming in and out of this place.
I also think it's funny whenever you see a wide shot of the island. There is only a castle.
Yeah,
like,
right,
There is
right.
no,
Yeah.
there are no villages.
It's the other side. It's on the other side, Tom.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me stop you with whenever you see a wide shot. This film is the most claustrophobic close-up shot. Every scene is in someone's
Yeah.
face, and I'm like, is that because it's mostly CG and they're just trying to only shoot right up close? But I was
It could
getting.
be.
I was just getting so claustrophobic with the tight shots. Everything is a tight shot. I'm like, pull the
know what-
camera backwards.
You know
for a
what
second.
other
Rob
movie
Marshall's a
is
fine
oddly
director.
like that? What a
What's
movie
that?
musical is Annie.
Really? Is
Go
that all
back and
shot up
watch
tight?
it's
The older one?
Yeah, the one with Carol
Oh.
Burnett. Like it's lots of tight shots, and I'm just like, this is a big giant musical. Like,
Yeah, right.
back up.
And
Well,
I was thinking
I think
we're
of
under
West
the
Side
Sea
Story,
with
right?
all-
Like West Side
yeah.
Story is a massive,
Right, they
it's a
pull back.
massive movie.
Well, this movie, you've got this beautiful oceanography and everything, and I'm like, I
We're
would
just gonna
like to
shoot it at
see.
night.
I would like to see
Well,
the
anytime
ship.
they're
and-
underwater, they got to be close because the closer you are, the less you have to animate.
That's true.
Right,
That's
that's what I totally, and a lot of it's
All the
underwater.
stuff above water, yeah.
But
Seems-
I mean, hey,
you know
they,
what? I didn't feel any of that except now that you're talking about it, I kind of did. Like even
Yeah.
that scene when they're at the dance,
Yes,
everyone's dancing.
everyone's shot right.
very tight.
She always wanted to dance. Yeah, it feels kind of small.
When
still.
that because I wasn't as hooked with this movie also because I couldn't really see what was going on. I could follow it, but what I mean is like trying to take it in. Anytime that she woke up in her room after she gets her legs and lost her voice,
It's like
it's
up
just
on
like
her
her
bed.
face.
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
like
her
real-
face,
real
and
close on the bed.
it was so confusing to me because I'm like, okay, I get it. Whoever the cinematographer is likes to, shoot close up, whatever, but it hardly ever pulled back, and
Ain't
it was
no Dean Cundy.
Right. It was getting to be frustrating to me because I'm like, okay, you've got these great set designs and costumes, and I really think the production design looked good, but they would not show you. And I don't know if it's because they kept cropping in because maybe what they shot they didn't like and they had to crop in or something, or if it was really filmed that tight. But
Who's the guy that you don't like?
who's the well?
We were just talking about.
You're gonna narrow it down.
Yeah, sorry. We were just talking about.
Oh,
it.
Katzenberg?
Katzenberg came in and edited the shit. out of it.
Katzenberg. Yeah, they hired him back.
push in on that one.
Yeah, push it, yeah. And that one, and that one, and that
all
one.
of it, all of it.
So yeah, that was
Gotta
a
be
little
on this girl's face.
That was- they started the movie and you see the guys sailing like in the cartoon they start with that too, but they're singing and I feel like they really weren't singing that song in the beginning.
There are obviously bits and
kinda
pieces
weird.
of that movie that I don't remember.
Yeah.
So I could not remember how the animated one started.
Yeah.
But I mean, with her, it's her saving Eric and putting it like
Yeah.
that's kind of how it all kicks off. But yeah, it is weird. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that's shot at night. And
Sure.
we've talked about, and so I was like, oh man, at the end of this, we're going to get like Kaiju Ursula.
this
and
was
it's going to be crazy.
He directed that. I think he directed that Pirates of the Caribbean that did the same thing. Remember,
Rob
it's
Marshall?
all. Yeah, remember it's all shot at
Big
night.
thing
So,
with that nighttime.
so the
That
sea
was
battles were all
so
at night.
dark when she.
Were you gonna complain that you couldn't see much of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
At the end there.
Yes,
That
because I
was
wanted to
pretty
like.
dark.
I mean, I feel like if you're gonna go all in on this movie, that ending sequence with the giant Ursula is a giant part of this movie, and
Yeah.
you see everything. And I just feel like
I think it was really cool. I do think it was fun and cool to watch, but it was dark for those reasons
Yeah.
we're talking about, which is a shame
which is what
because
they did in Pacific Rim. They did that thing
Yeah.
where it was like that giant fight where it's like we're gonna do this in the rain.
was it Pacific Rim or was it Pacific Rim 2?
was
probably
both of them.
Yeah.
two specifically.
Two
I'm
definitely.
sure.
Two definitely cheaped out.
So he did which one was it?
Chicago.
I'm looking. He did On Stranger Tides. Do we remember which number that was?
Fourth one.
That might be the fourth.
I think that's the fourth.
Curse
or
of the
fifth
Black
one.
Pearl.
Did Gore
Dead
Verbinski
Man's-
do all three of the original trilogy?
Let me see if I can do this.
And then-
Curse of the Black Pearl, Dead Man's Chest,
Man, I can't remember now.
On Stranger Tides, At the World's End.
I'm on record. There's none after 3.
I've only,
You know,
we've
it's just-
definitely covered them. I
That
think,
fifth one
man,
where it just follows Jack Sparrow
I gotta
is
tell you,
like
bad.
that first movie is
The first
Amazing.
movie is a blast,
Incredible.
and the second two are coasting on the goodwill of the first one.
Mm-hmm.
They're
but they're still fun.
but they're still fun adjacent.
the
and
fourth, when they try to bring it back after
Was
it was
bad,
bad,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
that fifth,
was just cash grab.
Yeah. But man, that first one is
Johnny
insanely
Depp,
good.
we're just gonna follow you
Wait.
around. Just
Javier Bardem, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yes, you're right. He plays
I was,
Blackbeard,
as soon
right?
as he popped up in this, I was like, "Am I crazy, or has he done this before?"
yeah.
No, I don't think so. I'm just thinking
No,
of
is he?
something else.
Is he Blackbeard?
And now it just came back
Yeah.
to me.
or is that Ian McShane?
No, Ian McShane is Blackbeard. He is.
No, he was like,
Davy Jones?
No,
that's-
Davy
that's
Jones is
Jeffrey Rush.
Jeffrey Rush.
That's right.
He was like a weird crustacean person.
Who's Bill Nye?
Did he
He's
have a
the
band?
bad guy, I think, in the
Did he
fifth
have a
one.
band? So my wife pointed out something interesting about this movie because she loves the first one so much.
Yeah.
There's one word that Ariel says quite frequently in the original that she never once utters in this movie.
What?
Oh no.
Daddy.
Oh, does she call Triton Daddy?
She calls him daddy repeatedly.
yeah.
She
I knew I didn't
never-
like this movie as much.
She
Well,
never says the
here's
word
thing.
daddy.
If you're gonna use that word, you gotta cast Pedro Pascal.
That's
the way that works.
Yeah, I should have.
You don't cast him, you can't.
You
use
can't
the word.
use it.
It
It's-
is
it's
true though,
attached to it.
because that word has taken on a completely
Right.
different
It's a
meaning in
charged-
2023.
It's a charged word.
Yeah,
now,
big
but
time.
I just
That's
I
funny.
thought that was interesting.
Was the original, was the cartoon set in the Caribbean islands, or was it like a nondescript place? I could not remember.
I thought it was
I
nondescript.
think it
I
was
could be wrong, though.
nondescript.
I do
but
too.
I liked that change here.
I do too. I think everything that they changed between the diversity and with the daughters and
Here-
the different seas, the
here's a-
Caribbean and the people, I think they did a great job.
Here's
of
a
doing
change I really liked.
Yeah.
Is they added a wrinkle to when she loses her voice and has to go get kissed of that she doesn't
forgets.
she doesn't remember that she's
That's her
supposed to get
mission.
a kiss.
that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Is
totally.
that right?
Yeah.
That's pretty smart the way that
Because
they.
in the movie, like,
Because why wouldn't you just
just grab him.
take care of it?
yeah,
But it's not-
or even because it has to be a true love
It's
kiss.
true
right?
love's kiss.
Oh,
so
that's
you
true.
can't just like you need enthusiastic consent, right? And
which they say in the song.
as
They make
well-
a nice little.
yeah, they make. I
change in
like the
song.
change in the song.
It's subtle. It's not anything to
It's
get your
not-
panties in a twist over. It's
No.
really they just say ask her. Or,
they
like,
say
make sure
instead of saying it, don't take a word. They say
if the timing is right.
just use your words.
yeah,
And I'm like, yeah, that's
That's legit.
yeah,
it's subtle, but it's fine.
yeah. Like Ariel comes off as kind of dumb for like when they're clearly about to have these moments and she doesn't lean into it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like you need this to happen.
And not only do you need it to happen, but
want
you
this to happen.
and you want
You
it
need
to
this
happen, right? Like, and so when she doesn't take advantage of those moments, it just feels like it's just deliberate plot device. To,
yeah, exactly.
you
You
know.
have to wait till the end.
So I thought that was a really smart minor tweak that they made.
The
to it.
name thing was good. So in the original, she signs her name on a contract, and then he's like, "What's your name?" And she's like, "I don't know." And it's like, you signed your name. Why don't you write
Why
it on a
can't you
piece
just
of
write it?
paper
You
for
could
the
just
guy?
rewrite it.
And this one, they have a scene where he's like, "What is your name?" And then she's looking at the stars. Aries, area. I really like that. And she would like stop his mouth and like pull
Yeah.
it down to make a noise.
I like that scene.
And tells
I-
him the name.
I never took her not saying she didn't know her name. I took it as like she didn't have a way to say it.
No.
Like, not that
was,
she didn't know
No,
her name. Oh, okay.
no. That was me. I was
Oh,
joking.
okay. I thought that was like a legitimate
No,
complaint people had.
no. I was no. They complained that she
The
signed
complaint
her
was,
name
why
on the
couldn't she just
contract.
write
her
Why
name
didn't she
before?
write it? That's what I mean. Because she.
Oh, like she could have like gotten a notepad.
But there's
and
no,
just-
but there's
How
no
could she-
contract in this. They took that away.
So
Yeah.
they took it away, so she couldn't write it. But then they still have her actually say the name, which is smart because it's like that doesn't give away anything bad. Like say your name, tell them what your name is, and it was a cute scene, so I really liked that.
Was Eric supposed to be under a spell when
The siren song, I liked it.
He
So
was in the first one too, though, right?
That's what I mean. Like,
but
I
they
felt-
don't say anything about the siren song. I love. Okay, so the whole mythology of mermaids is that they say it in this movie.
bad guys.
They say it,
Yeah,
which they
yeah.
never do in the cartoon. I love that in the very beginning of the movie, Eric's out there with his crew on the ship, and they're like, they say that they get together and they lure men to their death or whatever. That's what mermaids in mythology do. So I love that they
their
said
songs
that.
entrance you.
Yeah, and so
As do the clamshells. Am I
Hey,
right,
now.
fellas?
So I really like that they use that as a plot point, is that the siren song, and then Ursula even says, I'm going to take away your siren song. It's part of the contract. The cartoon, you just think, oh, she has a beautiful voice.
Right.
They don't
Yeah.
say anything about it hypnotizing or anything.
Yeah.
And so
In the cartoon, I just thought, oh, she just has a beautiful voice. Whereas now I think she's a murderer.
That's exactly right. Yes. Yeah.
So
we don't
she's
even know how many men she's
a
lured to their
serial
death.
killing mermaid. Now they
Those are
firmly established
rumors
this.
that only happen like once or
Right,
twice.
right.
And it was
Way
totally
out of
she didn't
proportion.
know she could do it. It was an accident.
but
It's
I
like
like
all the humans aren't evil because one of them
Yes.
killed her mom.
Right.
Come on.
No, but I like that a lot because clearly they say what the mythology is, but then also we see that clearly the mermaids aren't doing that. So
Right.
it is like a
But
misunderstanding.
I guess I felt like that in the
I think I would have liked it
cartoon-
better if the mermaids were doing that, but they just didn't know they were doing that.
Oh, that'd be
That they're just like,
hilarious.
well, we sing.
singing.
We're just singing. Like,
We
what?
Why are these guys walking?
We had
along?
no
I was
idea.
Why are
under the
you
impression
walking off
that
the
in
boat?
the mythology, they lure you to them so they can like eat you.
That
or
is correct.
or
Yeah.
something.
That's
Yes.
what the mythology is. But so it was a nice nod though to what the whole like Disney took it and totally made.
I
it
guess I
into
felt
a
like
kids
in this
movie.
one though, it felt like that Eric was marrying her out of obligation because he felt like this was the woman that saved him and not
Right.
Ariel.
And he had made such a big damn deal about it.
Right.
That when they go and find her, he was kind of like, oh, well, now I feel like a... Like,
Totally.
I like...
That's the way
I
I-
like that.
But I don't think he would have. I know he felt like whatever, but she hypnotized him for sure. It was
Okay.
the siren
Yeah.
song that
All-
made him.
Also, this time it revolves around the proposal and not the marriage itself,
Right.
which
The
I
wedding itself, yeah.
I like that
Yeah.
change as well.
I'm glad they cut a lot of that out.
Yeah.
I was not excited to watch a cook chase crab around.
That's
again.
the weakest song in the movie.
All right, we could just. I hope.
But
we
it's
can
such a
just-
fun. But like,
And
if
then
you
it
grew up
didn't
with
happen.
it though, that's
Like, oh,
because
great.
I mean that should have been Sacha Baron Cohen
Yeah.
as the chef and doing his thing. You know, I don't know. That's a fun. It is. I'm not saying it's the greatest song ever, but it's a fun part of
Well,
the movie.
I think though I think part of the reason they cut that song is because going back to what you were saying about how realistic the animals look.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden it feels a lot
Yeah, how are you
darker.
going to do that in real life?
yeah, that's true.
You see
Yeah.
the chef like dropping a lobster into the thing.
I was a little bit confused about how nonchalant they were with Sebastian because they catch him.
just
It's a
kept
fishing
throwing him
boat,
around?
and he went into a thing, but he was able to just lift up the top and crawl out and climb around wherever he wanted. I'm just like, if they caught him as a fish, then
Well, they weren't they weren't expecting to catch a sentient lobster.
He's an exceptionally
crab.
smart crab.
But if all the
That's why he's
animals
the
are the
second
way they
hand-
are,
he's the
I just
second
thought-
hand on the whole seven seas.
right.
He's King Triton's right hand crab.
He's worked
I
his
think
way up
he's-
to this point. Not just he's not some schlub.
I think he's a
I need
little
my right hand
smarter.
crab back.
I think he's a little smarter than your average crab, Kevin.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know. I just thought, but I really thought it was funny the way, and that's David Diggs from Hamilton.
That might be
Yeah.
your Ben Grimm. That's
yeah,
the rumor. Is
Oh,
that
okay.
he might be your Ben Grimm.
But I thought he was really good. Again, all the casting, I thought they did a great job casting. But I thought it was really funny how in this movie, Sebastian kept having to follow her around and kept getting like left behind or whatever. And he would be climbing. He would find some vines or some contraption or way to get back to her, and he'd be out of breath and everything. It was
Right.
just funny the way he kept chasing
No,
her
I was
around.
I think this movie excels when they've made changes.
Yeah, there's
that's
like
that's
that-
what these need
the
to
other
be.
bit I really liked, which I don't remember being in the cartoon, was you could still hear her singing in her head.
I thought
Oh,
that was
right.
weird for a musical, but
Oh, you did?
I
I
thought that was.
liked it.
Have you ever seen a musical where the person thinks their song? I don't.
No,
think
that's why it's because that's different. It's something
It
that
is,
this
but
movie has
okay,
that
so
you
maybe
can't
it's
do
just-
anywhere else.
Yeah, maybe it
She
just.
still had an inner monologue, and we could hear that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying maybe I am just new to it, and I didn't think it was a bad song or anything, but I thought it was weird. I'm like, oh, she's singing in her head. I've never seen that done.
I started to worry that, oh man, I just remembered. There's an hour of this movie where she's not going to say anything.
Right.
Do that.
I wondered how.
You just take your like lead actress's beautiful
Yeah.
singing voice off the
No, I
table.
agree with
the
Rick. I
table.
like that, and
do?
I think it would be weirder in a stage production, right? Because then it would obviously have to be pre-recorded,
Sure,
Right,
and it kind of
right. And
defeats
you
the
would-
purpose
Or she would still be singing, and you just accept. Oh,
that she's
Well,
thinking it.
That's
yeah.
how and they do at the end of that song. They do have her sing, and you know it's just in her head. I think they could have shown that earlier. Like we know she lost her voice, but you
Right.
can still have her sing. You're just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, in
Yeah.
musicals when they bust out in the street doing a number.
which is really dumb.
No, stop it, Mr. Non-Musical. But you know what I mean? Like I think they could have shown her really singing earlier. They should have had her maybe be silent for a second and then transition into it. For me, it was weird watching
It's
her.
still for little kids. That might be a lot for little kids to try to
That's true.
figure out
fair enough.
a storytelling device. Like
it was just weird because you heard her sing, but she was kind of stone-faced looking around, and I'm like, this is so weird for us.
So they haven't announced the next one of these, right? I guess they're talking about Moana, or that's been announced.
Oh, that's been
because The Rock's like, I need
yeah.
a hit, baby.
Yeah.
But like they've done them all. Like they've done the big '90s stuff. They've knocked them all. I feel like
they're releasing them on Disney Plus. Because we just had Peter Pan this year.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about Peter Pan.
Like quietly releasing stuff.
And Pinocchio.
And
Pinocchio.
I still haven't
Lady and
even
the
watched Pinocchio.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I just feel like there's Snow White and there's Sleeping Beauty to me. Oh, I guess they did Maleficent.
Yeah.
So kind of.
See, but that's cool because it's like a different take. I do like the, see it from the other angle kind of thing.
Look, I think Jungle Book. I think Cinderella to me is the
well, the next thing you're going to see is sequels to all these.
That's
so there's going to be like Lion King 2.
They're going to go to
they're going to do Little Mermaid 2.
They're going to go to the
Oh
animated
yeah, Lion King
features.
2 is like in production. Like that's coming out.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
So are they doing a remake of the direct-to-video thing, or are they
Lion
making
King-
a whole new thing?
It's original.
I have to believe it's going to be brand new.
It's original.
Lion
yeah.
King.
Are they
Barry
bringing-
Jenkins is directing it.
Are they bringing back Elton John to write lyrics?
Ooh, I don't know about
That'd be
that.
fun. That'd be cool.
Because I'm just
And Phil
like,
Collins
that's
for
because that's going to
Tarzan.
be the problem with making sequels to these is the songs.
Yep.
Right? Like
Yep.
that's going to be difficult, and you're going to want those songs to sound like the originals in
Yeah.
tone. Like
You're gonna need a really good cover band.
Yeah.
Really good tribute band.
yeah.
But here's the thing, though. I feel like these sequels could be better because they're not
Beholden.
But not beholden.
Right.
They can do their own thing, right? Like,
Yeah,
If
it's addressing your complaint is why
For
are we
sure.
doing this over again? Well,
Yeah.
we have a new.
We need to
Thing
do
that we
it
can
so
do.
we can make enough money for the
I
sequels.
thought they're
That's-
doing an Aladdin 2 as well, right?
they could.
They announced that they're going to be doing that.
I think they announced it a long time ago, but some of these things you just don't know. Are they really
Chris
going-
Rock is Jafar.
No.
I don't know. I'm just.
Oh,
Holy
because the genie.
Oh,
will
my
smash.
God.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm looking up what.
Could
what
you
what
imagine?
hasn't been remade. Snow White, you could still do,
Yep.
even though we have like a live action Snow White that wasn't Disney.
Tarzan?
Achilles.
Hercules and Tarzan would be a lot of fun.
I thought Hercules is
the
coming
crazy
out.
one.
Yeah.
Because Moana's not old.
Is Taron Egerton Hercules? Why am I thinking that?
Are you serious?
It's just your.
Is Hercules?
That's your fanfic.
That's your slash fiction that you write.
Oh, it's
That would
Lilo
be
and
fun.
Stitch,
Lilo and
back.
Stitch would be a good one.
Robin Hood.
I would. Hey, man. No, don't do that. Because it's going to be weird.
exclusive from January 2023. Taron Egerton, frontrunner for Disney's Hercules.
Hey, man. That.
I'm
that
like, I'm not making this
Here's
up.
the
Sword
thing,
in the
though.
Stone.
That dude can
Bambi.
sing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're just talking about
Still-
Rocket
Still
Man.
got a list of things in there. That
Yeah.
we could be doing.
Bambi.
Ugh.
Good luck.
We're going to do a hard R
be
version
tough.
of Bambi where we see
They did. The Rock was in it.
Bambi's mom get shot in the face.
Did you watch that SNL
Yeah.
when Rock is Bambi and
Yeah.
out for revenge or
Out for
whatever
revenge,
against
yeah.
that?
I think, if they do sequels to these, they have the ability or the possibility to be better because they're not beholden to, unless they
Yeah.
start reanimating the animated sequels, or with The Little Mermaid 2 or The Lion King 1.5, it's like stuff like that.
I
That's
don't
like
think
fun.
you'll. Although Lion King 1.5 was fun,
It was pretty
but yeah, I don't think you'll. I don't
No.
think you'll see that. I think you'll get all new stories, and yeah, like I'm more interested in seeing those than seeing this.
Yeah.
So this is directed by Rob Marshall, who's kind of become the movie musical guy. So he did Mary Poppins Returns for them, Into the Woods. He did Chicago.
Memoirs of the Geisha.
Yeah, but that's not a musical.
I'm just saying it's one that he directed because I looked up earlier.
Oh,
Good that I knew
He's
that.
like, I know things.
okay. So back to the movie musicals he's
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
directed.
yeah.
Chicago, of course, which I think is
the one he got right.
But right, well, that's that kickstarted his career in this.
Yeah.
Was that was a great movie. 9, the one with Daniel Day-Lewis, he directed. Which I'm not a huge fan of that adaptation either. But they were trying to do something different, right? Because it's not 8.5, it's 9. They tried to make it like a little different than just a remake.
Yeah.
But so he's kind of become the movie musical guy, and Disney's using. I mean, that's all he's. Other than Pirates.
Hey, man, if you can get in with Disney and they're like, what's Rob Marshall doing? Can we
Yeah.
get him to come in and moneyball this?
I think he's a competent director. This movie, like I said, it's entertaining. It's fine, whether it be unnecessary or not. I think it's going to be important for a lot of people. I think it does a good job at retelling the same story, right? Like it doesn't tell it worse. I don't watch this and go like, oh, they completely lost what the point of The Little Mermaid was, right? Like they made a remake that is faithful.
Yeah.
Like like even the body language, like Halle Bailey when she's part of this world, which is that pivotal song, and she's like reaching up out of the coral in her hands. I rewatched some stuff from the original. It's like, man, they even copied the way she moved.
The part where she like deliberately recreated the
rock,
the rocks.
The rock thing with the
I was
wave.
like, here it comes. Here it comes.
I was just like,
right.
I'm like,
And then it just,
I was like, oh, this is
You have to.
cheesy.
You have to. Though.
I don't
you
think
can't
you do
No,
have
you.
to.
That is the freaking scene. That is.
You have to do that.
You
I just
have
think,
to.
yeah, that
no,
like
I'm saying you
moment right
legally,
there was-
Joe. You are taken to jail if you make this movie. Don't do the
Yeah,
rock
don't
scene.
forget they're based in
Movie
Florida,
Joe
so
with your
they
face,
signed a
that's for
law.
sure.
Yeah, right,
They have to do that. So.
But I mean, so that's what I mean. It's a faithful recreation. You get the scenes for the most part. Everything you're looking for is there. I think they padded it with some cute stuff. A little long, but it's still cute. Them going out onto the island and dancing and going on the carriage ride and up until the kiss the girl, the boat thing. That like it's fun. It's a kind of meet cute little day out thing. I liked that. It's enjoyable. It's really an enjoyable movie. So I liked it. I don't think it's better than the first one.
No, it wasn't gonna be.
But yeah, that's really hard to do. But I think
Jungle Book is better than the cartoon.
I also agree.
And I would argue that I think Cinderella might be better than the cartoon.
I think
And
Cinderella.
Pete's Dragon is absolutely
Pete's
better than
Dragon.
the cartoon.
Pete's
is the one we
Fair.
forgot about. Yeah,
I'll tell
that's
you.
so good.
That's not a high bar. Pete's Dragon.
It's
The original.
interesting. The ones that are better are the ones that are so old.
Right.
well,
You know?
I mean,
They
Cinderella
just
is
come
even.
so far from where they were in storytelling at that time. You know?
Yeah.
I think
fair.
the
To what we
advantage
expect
Cinderella
out of a
has,
movie.
But they changed it.
but the advantage Cinderella has is it's all people.
True.
Cinderella is all.
You got
people.
the mice and you got some
You
stuff.
did. You
but
got, but they weren't talking. They were making
True.
squeaks. You weren't getting Gus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They were just running around being
That's
nice.
true. It's really hard. I'm all on board with you there. When you want to make animals and stuff talk, but you want to be photorealistic, and this is live action,
loses something.
You do, and I do think there's a great hybrid spot for it. And I keep saying Sonic because those movies are so fun, and Sonic looks nothing like a real animal, but he looks just like he does in the games and the cartoons, and they translated that to live action away. The second time around, they fixed
Yeah, right.
I mean, that movie goes from being a flop to a juggernaut with a huge sequel and a third one coming out because of that design. And they had fun with this cartoon character in a real world, just like they do with Roger Rabbit, or they can have live action mix. And so I think that there's a sweet spot they haven't quite found for these.
The difference with those is those are fish out of water stories. Like, it's not supposed to look real. It's
fair.
This was a fish out of water story.
The point is,
Yeah, it was a fish out of water story, Rick.
There you go.
Zing.
The point of Sonic is that he's not from here.
Right.
He could be
Sure.
anything else. And same with even the Roger Rabbit movie.
Yeah, Roger
totally.
Rabbit. There's
Yeah.
This is not real. Like,
Yeah.
look at the problem. They're cartoons.
and Roger
Look at the
Rabbit
world.
was trying. They weren't trying to make the cartoon characters look like real life
Yeah,
characters.
the
tell
point
ya.
was that they were cartoons.
Was that they were
in the
cartoon
real
characters.
world.
No.
What's that shoe
So
in
you
the
have to
dip? That
find
feels
that
pretty
balance,
fucking
like-
real.
Yeah.
You have to find a story that supports that approach.
No,
you
I
know?
was just
Like,
listing off-
There's a reason these things aren't real.
Of course. No, I was just listing off examples of all the different types of animation with live action. And they want it to be live action with real actors. It's not completely animated. So I mean that we've seen how animation and live action can marry together. And so I don't think you need the animals to be live action too, because one, they're not, and they're what make the cartoons so special. And so when you turn, I mean, did anyone look at Flounder's design in this and go like, way more fun and way better? He looks like a fish from...
Actually, my niece, that was one of her big complaints. Was
Yeah.
That's not how Flounder looks.
No, and I get what they're
or
doing.
like
but...
Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
And those guys.
Same thing, though. That's cartoon characters in the real world.
True.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, they did
Like,
kind of
that's
Roger
part of
Rabbit
the
it.
story.
They did, but
But they did.
The
But they
difference is
looked.
when you're trying to make a real, like a real, like this is actually happening in the real world.
why are they doing that, Rick? That's my point. Is that why on
Telling a
earth?
different story. That's what I mean. Is you got to
Yeah.
find like a balance and a story that supports why something would.
I
be
wonder if there's a
so
way
different.
to animate a lion or a bear or whatever, and just give it a little bit more of a cartoonish look and keep it. I don't know. Like that's so far above my pay grade of how to make
Yeah.
that work.
But that's what I'm saying is
somehow
that I
change
wish
their
that they.
face just a little bit.
There is a way. There's so many talented artists.
That
There-
was the Yogi Bear movie. There you go.
That's a great example.
So,
that movie's
Kevin,
really
how
bad,
much do you
but-
love the Yogi Bear movie? Go ahead. That's exactly what you want.
Yogi
It's like,
Bear
not
is
real.
not Yogi Bear is not the level of writing and the Disney company.
Alvin
behind
and
it.
the Chipmunks.
That's a really good example because they
Cocaine
are...
Bear.
Yes, Cocaine Bears.
But Alvin and the Chipmunks, they do walk that line where they
Yeah.
look close enough to the animated version.
But they still look like they actually have fur.
correct.
And yeah.
That's a great call.
I guess I just don't get why Disney in their live action remakes has to make everything look live action
Because it
the-
feels like they're like, look,
Because
what
that's
we-
the hook.
It's the old.
Yeah.
It's Stewart from
It's
Mad
different
TV.
enough
Look what
from
I
the
can
old
do.
one, but
Yeah.
not real enough that you can't take your kids because it's too scary.
Like that. What was the jungle? What was the other Jungle Book one that we saw? They released straight to
Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh,
Was
that-
the
well, it was
That
produced
was
by
Andy Serkis.
the Andy Serkis one.
Circus
Yeah, we're
directed
just
it,
like,
yeah.
this
But I
is
do want to,
real
and
bad.
I'm not trying to be negative because, like I said, I think I made it clear. It's an enjoyable movie, and I also think it's important. I'm not ever going to take away the fact that
No,
there's
I
a new
agree.
audience of people that look different than what we saw in the cartoon version,
Mm-hmm.
right? A bunch of white people with different color hair, right? Like
No, I
it's
agree
just
with you.
this movie has that diversity, and it's not forced. It's a reflection of what our world looks like, and a reflection of the people that are
I do.
watching these movies.
I think it is insanely important for everyone to see themselves on screen.
Which is why I think these movies have to be made. So
I don't
you know
disagree.
what? No one is coming to your house and taking away your clamshells.
Depends on how much they're worth. Then I'll steal them.
Well, you can. I mean, they're worth $1 million each on eBay, right? That's what the worst. But no one is taking your old version.
Yeah.
This is if you're mad about this movie is not for you. But I will never want them to not make this movie for that little girl that's watching it that feels seen. So
Yep. That's the bottom line.
kudos to them for
No,
making
I
it, and I
totally
think they
agree
did a good job.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's it for this one. Let's go around the table and everyone can say where to find them.
This is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter at Joey Butts, BUTTS21. Also on Letterboxd at BU, same deal. Also, yeah, again, don't forget the Screen Run podcast. I did their Escape from New York and Escape from LA.
Thanks for the invite, Screen Run
Hey,
Podcast.
when somebody loves Kurt Russell as much as I do, they know who to come to.
Which is why I was shocked when you were like, Guardians 2 is not my thing, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, how?
It
It's
is
Kurt
it
Russell
is
in a
hard
Marvel
to
movie.
admit that.
Yeah.
It is hard to admit.
You're like, I love Mr. Nobody, but
he's the reason
ego.
that movie sucks so bad because he wasn't in it.
And this is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter at Kevin R. Brackett.
And Rick, where can they find you?
Well, let's see. Thanks again for having me on.
You're welcome.
If you want to hear more from me, I was on the Black Panther episode. Yeah. So we didn't really do an intro for me at the beginning, but I work out Marvel Studios, been doing a ton of that stuff. I was on Guardians 3. So I don't know if you guys want to ask some questions. Unfortunately, I couldn't get on the show for that one.
Were you happy with how it all came together? Because we obviously wanted
Loved
to talk
it.
to you on the
Yeah.
episode. Yeah, you
It
saw
was
the
tough.
footage. And
It was tough to keep all that stuff a secret for so long. I read the script for that like Thanksgiving 2 years ago.
Oh, dang.
Something like that. And it was almost exactly the way I pictured it. So much
Cool.
of it.
That's awesome.
They left some stuff out, which I thought were like funny jokes.
Like stuff out of
Didn't
the
make it in.
that
Out of the final.
was it recorded or what did they
Oh
just
yeah,
leave it out?
stuff. Stuff that we shot, I guess, just didn't work. I never saw.
Okay,
You
okay.
know, I'm off the show after they stop shooting usually,
Sure.
so I'm not there for the whole edit. And I was a little sad, like, oh man, they cut that bit. Oh man, they cut that.
did you watch him get his first F-bomb? Did you watch that footage?
Oh yeah, but you know what? It's like that on all Marvel.
Oh, they do it and they just cut
Even
it?
the TV stuff. Yeah,
They just
'cause
cut
people,
it. Yeah.
You know, ad lib, and there's like curses all over the place.
Did you think they're just not going to use that? When you
I
saw
mean, I always assume they're not going to use it.
That's what I'm saying. So like
Well, 'cause
you
I
saw
read
it
an
and just,
article that they had filmed of an F-bomb for Endgame, and that I guess Kevin Feige went to him and was like, to the Russo brothers, and was like, this will be your legacy, that you put an F-bomb in a Marvel movie. I'll let you, but like that'll be your legacy. And they were like, oh, I don't know. And they went to
saw James
and then they
Gunn.
went to James Gunn, and he said the same thing, and James Gunn was like, right on.
do you want this to be my legacy?
It's like, by the way,
I was very surprised when that F-bomb came up. Like, whoa, they left that in there. Okay.
That's
Wasn't
what I
a
was-
lot of laughter in the theater. I think people were like kind of shocked.
That's
by
yeah.
it.
That's what I was wondering because you saw that, but that's funny to think that people ad lib all the time and you presume it's not going to make it, and then
Oh yeah, all
Ta-da.
the time. You see tons of stuff, and especially when a lot of times people will curse and say, "Oh, sorry,
Right.
Disney, you can't say that on Disney."
oh, it's got to be hilarious for you to see all that footage of all the gaffes and stuff that we only sometimes see in end credit. They don't do it as much anymore.
No,
but
that's
you
true.
see all the flubs and
It's because Dick Clark and Ed McMahon are dead.
That's true. You don't get the bloopers. How were we anywhere near getting Nova?
He probably can't.
I don't even know who that is.
I'll take that as a no.
I think he said that during Wakanda Forever. He's like, I don't know.
Nova is basically Marvel's Green Lantern.
I never saw any. No, the what you saw is like exactly as I.
He was when they blow up Xandar. There's one left, and he's the last of the Nova Corps.
So they were
He's one of my
presumably
favorites.
during that window where James Gunn was.
Oh, that's
no longer,
true.
They were presumably working on a Guardians 3. Do you have any idea what that would have been about?
You mean the one that was not going to be James Gunn?
Correct.
Yes,
From what I understand, they were going to take his script and just shoot it.
with Vin Diesel as director.
Oh, so like he already had
I thought it was going to be
completed.
his script. Yeah.
So he had already completed the
was
script.
done. I remember even right before, man, because I wasn't even working for Marvel at that time. I was on Avengers movies when he got canned, but they were like gearing up to go into production.
Oh, see, I thought that he wrote it after he came back.
Yeah, I
so you
thought
had
you
read
did
it
too.
before he was.
No, it was before. I hadn't read the
Oh.
script that early, but
Okay,
yeah,
well, that's good.
I
That's
remember even, man, when they were getting ready to go, he like did a tweet of the front of the script and said, he called it like, "This is my heart, like this is my baby."
Oh, he
This
did do
is
that. You're
the
absolutely
script.
right.
So it was done and ready to go, and I believe they were just going to fire him as director, but still use the script. Now
Jeez.
that's not to mean it wouldn't have been completely different,
Of course.
because a director comes in and makes
Says,
whatever
yeah.
changes they want to do. But
yeah. There's no way it
that
wouldn't
was
have been
always gonna be
different.
kind of the original story.
And I wonder if they would. I mean, man, it seems like that cast was pretty much like we're with James.
It
like,
felt like everybody was like, "We're out."
it did feel really much. I mean, that's so cool. We talked about it in the episode. I don't know if you had a chance to listen, but
I did listen to it. There was a couple things that you even talked about. I was like, dang, I should bring that up.
yeah, what was
I
it?
don't remember what those things were.
Perfect for yeah.
I remember one of them. You guys were talking about the body that Nebula carries.
Yeah.
Star-Lord.
Yes.
Dude, that day, it took me the whole day of watching dailies before I realized it wasn't real.
Right.
It was so...
We've seen Kevin sent me some of the footage of the dummy that they use, and it was like
Yeah.
he sent it to me of like Chris Pratt like filming it and then going to a mirror showing himself and then going back and he sent it to me and I was just like, I don't understand what I'm
He
looking
couldn't
at.
even comprehend
Yeah.
how cool the
She
video.
was carrying him around, and I thought that he was strung up. I thought it was him like strung up by wires.
Which is what we all thought.
That's what I thought they did too. Yeah.
and then she started like moving him around. After
She's
a few
strong.
hours, I'm like, wait a second.
Karen Gillan's a beast.
But that's just
happening here?
I mean, we talk about practical effects and
That's-
makeup, and
hey, that's why they're as good as they are.
And it's like it's amazing to me in 2023, and whatever 2021, whenever they're making these movies, 2022, that James Gunn is still doing stuff like that. Like he's demanding these practical type things because anyone else would just do CG or wires at the least. But
makes me
Yeah.
kind of
Like-
excited for Superman.
oh, very excited!
He's gonna use
if there
practical
was
a real
effects.
flying actor.
Just catapult him through the
But
air.
if there were any doubts, right, like of like, oh, Superman, and they've messed up before and whatever, but then you see Guardians 3 and you're like, no, this is James Gunn. He's a solid director.
Oh yeah,
And,
for sure.
oh, I'm not worried about that. I'm just they've burned.
I
us
just
so many
hope he can.
times.
I just hope he can rein. And I love James Gunn. I hope he can rein in some of his more James Gunny tendencies because
Yeah.
it's like I don't want a raunchy Superman.
Right.
No.
but I think James Gunn doesn't want a raunchy.
I think
He
you
said
can. I
he's
think you
not
can
gonna-
have raunchy characters. I think Ron Troop, I think, who's like the sports guy, can be like the jock asshole guy.
Yeah.
You can have those characters in there, but I don't want to.
Do you think he'll keep his characters alive long enough to have
I
more
don't
than
know.
a few
Do
Do you
lines?
think he'll let us know who the character is before
do you
he
have any
kills it
insight
off?
as to the Superman Legacy cast that we can just announce here on the show? That'd be great.
Thank you, Rick, for
Yes.
I was
coming.
trying to think of anything else that I could tell you about that, but no, it was exactly what I pictured, and it was great, and I'm glad you guys all loved it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
it's
great.
fantastic.
I can't
yeah.
wait. There's got to be a 4K 3-movie trilogy box set or something. I
I'm
just can't
sure
wait.
there will
With
be.
tons
with
of
the Christmas special.
yeah, with tons
Yeah.
of special
Before the
features.
Christmas special
You worked
aired, so-
you worked on that too, right?
Yeah.
I don't
they shot
think-
it at the same time.
Yeah, we talked to you before that stuff, and we were excited for the Christmas special.
Yes.
So we
That's right.
we
That's
that
right.
was so much fun too. That was a great one.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, I'm sad that they spoiled Kevin Bacon being in that thing because
Yeah.
when I read that in the script, I went, "Wow, no way!" But nobody else had that experience.
So do you
of
know?
seeing
I just have a quick question about the Kevin Bacon thing. When they do something like that, did they write that with Kevin Bacon, or did they write that with like insert celeb here,
In
or
the script, it was Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, James said that he wrote that for
That's
Kevin.
and so
Oh,
like
so
did
much
but
fun.
did they already basically have Kevin Bacon sign on before they wrote
Oh,
the
I
script?
guarantee. Yeah, because you wouldn't go into the effort of.
Because I
trying
know
to
that
shoot
like
this thing
in
without him.
Zombieland, the Bill Murray character was supposed to be Patrick Swayze.
it was. Yeah,
and so I
Oh,
didn't.
that's funny.
So I didn't know
that's
how
why
they
that's
structured
why.
it.
So the one that picks him up, that picks up what's his name? Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
That's why he's doing the baby thing.
It was supposed to that the zombie that picked him up was supposed to be Patrick Swayze. Like that was the whole thing.
That makes more
And
sense
that's-
now.
But unfortunately, I think he was real sick.
I think he was real sick.
Real sick at that
and
point.
they, and
Funny.
and then
having
they
him play a zombie would not have been.
would have been
a little bit
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought I heard that Kevin Bacon always thought it was a kick that he was name dropped in that first one, and then they've always kind of been in contact.
I
since
think,
then.
yeah,
So
I
had
think
this
I did
idea.
hear an interview of him saying something like that.
That'd be
yeah,
fun.
That's great.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, so and I believe Rick, you still owe us an F-bomb for Kevin to edit out.
Oh, yeah. What?
Oh, what kind of curse words do you edit out? Anything?
Anything that's not radio friendly.
yeah.
Man, I gotta come up with something. Let me try to work that in. But yeah, so Guardians, and then I got a couple more, stuff coming up. But I made a movie too, and you can go
Yeah.
back and listen to, I'm gonna waste your time talking about all that again. But go back and listen to the Black Panther episode, and we talk a bunch about it. Solid Rock Trust, which it's going to be on YouTube on June 1st. So maybe by the time this
sweet.
comes out.
Nice. I watch
Yeah.
movies on
But it's
YouTube.
on-
Is it YouTube like if you have premium, it's included?
No. It's going to be out for everybody.
Oh, for
Our
everybody.
distributor has their own channel that they release all their movies on.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
wow.
Oh, sweet.
With ads and stuff. So it'll be on Tubi already, and it's going to be on YouTube, so you can check it out if you haven't already. But it's
And
kinda
what's it
like
called
a
again?
weird- It's called Solid Rock Trust. It's like a cool bank heist without a bank.
It's fun.
Movie.
It's the very
These
weak.
guys watched it and liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, we compared it to like the phone booth. It's like on the
Yeah,
phone.
no, it was.
where you're-
I remember digging it a lot.
Yeah, and the acting pulls a lot of the weight. Obviously, it has to have good writing, but the performances, because it's so what would you call it? Not secluded. What's the
Yeah,
word?
it's like a single person, single room movie.
Yeah.
She
Okay.
really carries
She's
it
the
on her
operator,
shoulders
like
the
trying
whole
to bounce back and forth between person to person.
Gotcha.
And what are you working on now? You said, can you say anything you're working on?
Tell you what, I can say I'm working on a show that's about to wrap that has not struck because we're so close to the finish.
Yeah.
And my
Okay.
next show just went into strike
Oh,
days ago. So currently, in the next 2 weeks, I'm not going to be working on anything.
Oh,
oh, dang.
But
Well,
I
Well,
thought I was going to be. But it's
wish
okay.
you-
We'll be back.
wish you the best.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
We are rooting
Also,
for you.
pay-
Everyone's in the same-
writers.
Everyone's in
Like,
the
that's-
same boat. It's not like I'm doing anything wrong or anyone.
No,
else
no,
is.
no, not
Yeah,
at all.
for
Except
sure.
the
Yeah, I know.
AMTP or whatever they're called.
Yeah,
They're the
no,
ones
pay the
doing it
writers.
we hope everyone gets what they. That sounds really negative. That's not what I meant.
I hope everyone gets what they deserve.
I mean, stream. It's just so crazy that
There's
like
plenty
it's-
of money.
streaming is
That's
like
exactly
a
it.
loophole. Like they found this
Yeah, it's-
loophole where filmmakers and television creators, like they've been doing this stuff for decades upon decades, and then streaming comes out as a new way to distribute things, and they found a way like, well, wait a minute, that's not in any of the contracts.
Right.
It's like, that's not fair. They're making this stuff you're making
Yeah, it's
boatloads
strange.
of money
It's gonna be weird.
on.
It could be a long summer for everybody. I'm hearing things like at the end of summer it could go long, it could go
Dang.
longer.
But here's the thing.
And then every time I talk to production though, they're like, "Oh, we are optimistic about it. It could be real quick."
Well, I don't want anyone to lose their income, like be delayed. Like I get that you're not getting paid while this stuff's going on, but that's better than the next 5 years of people not making what they deserve.
Correct.
So like
right.
I'm not going to be selfish and be like, oh, I want my shows. It's like, you know what? There are 8 million
There's
things
plenty
you can
of things to
stream
watch.
right. Yes. So
Yeah.
go back and watch
I still haven't
House
watched
if
Loki.
you've never seen it or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Just
Loki's
like
great.
Yeah.
go watch the shows you've never seen before.
I think
There's
Secret Invasion comes out in a week. I think.
Yeah,
What?
that's right. And
Secret
Loki season
Invasion's in a
2 's
week.
coming out this year.
no.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
gonna
Secret Invasion, I think, is next week.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's right. You're going to end up having a long break of content being released,
Yeah.
in a year, because that's
Yeah, there's a
the stuff
lag
that they're
time.
finishing right now.
Yeah.
Exactly. Same with COVID. It's like
Precisely.
it was after a while that you started to see the repercussions, and
Yeah.
you'll see a long break of anything good, and then you will come back to it. But yeah, it could be strange. We'll see what happens.
Well,
Best
fingers
of luck.
crossed. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
best of luck indeed.
Thank you. Anyways, yeah. So that's an answer to your question. Where can you find me? I know that was a tangent of
that's what we
Yes,
do.
hey.
real
It's what-
spoilers tradition.
Exactly.
Did you get my curse in there?
I didn't. I missed it. Didn't hear it.
Okay. Go back. Listen to that spot.
Did you just leave a long pause you want me to bleep?
I want that chicken noise in there. I want that.
All right, I'll throw it in there. Right over your name.
Yeah, but
This
thanks
is
for having me back. It's so fun talking to you guys. I love this show. I listened to this show when I was on Guardians 3.
Oh, that's
I
dope.
told you I was listening to this show when I was on Avengers.
That's awesome.
So
Well,
keep it rolling.
yeah, we'd like to really think
fantastic.
that we were responsible for most
Part
of the
of it,
success.
Yeah,
of-
we
Definitely.
basically made those movies.
yeah. I mean, without your footage that you were, what would they have to show?
Nothing.
And we
Hey,
kept.
you know what? We are all Groot.
That's right.
Yes, I love that. I said that on the episode. I love the fact that you could understand him because you were finally part of the family.
Part of the family.
Yeah.
So,
There it
like
is.
Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, just
and then
like.
I think that was the longest outro.
Outro.
ever.
Yeah.
So I still have to say mine, which is you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget our Patreon. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, Alan and Madison escape.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it's